So earlier on in the middle of May 2023, it was Accessibility Week, and during that week, on Thursday of that week, it was World Accessibility Day. And I was originally going to make this video at the end of that week as a live stream, but I had some issues around that. I was not sure whether I was live streaming or not, or how to pause the stream when I was actually streaming, and for now I just gave up on the live stream. But I thought I would make the video anyway and talk about what accessibility means to me, and ask the question of what does it mean to you. So to me, accessibility means that, being able to read the books that I want to read or need to read, when I want to read them, and that means normally in hard copy braille, although depending on what it is, electronic braille is also useful. Sadly, of all the books which are available in the world, there's a very small percentage of them which is actually available in braille, and for those who read large print, there are books available in braille, but they're really hard to find. And also, accessibility means being able to make a debit card transaction in a shop independently. So a lot of your chip and pin machines now that businesses have are touchscreen, and for whatever reason they don't have the rubber overlay that they're supposed to have, so I can't actually enter my PIN without getting somebody to do it for me, which defeats the object. With the touchscreen ones, I know some people say, oh, you can't just use contactless, but I don't want to use contactless. Personally, I prefer to pay for things with cash, but if I don't have cash for some reason, then chip and pin is the only option. Yeah, you could use things like Apple Pay or Android Pay or whatever, but I don't really want to do that, because why should I? So yeah, also to me, accessibility means being able to get to places. It's partly an independence thing, but get to places in a safe manner. So there are roads around the area that I live, which has, they have pelican crossings like the ones that. Hey, Autumn, can you like be quiet, please? Autumn, can you be quiet, please? No? Okay. Apparently, Autumn or Spring or whoever would like to join in the conversation. Ah, accessibility for budgies, yes. Um, right. Anyway, as I was saying, the pelican crossings near where I live. Right, so for those that don't know, in the UK, pelican crossings are supposed to beep and have a rotating cone underneath, which, so the sound, yeah, the thing will beep when the lights change and the rotating cone will spin round when the lights change to indicate when you're supposed to cross the road. Now that works fine apart from, first of all, when somebody breaks off that rotating cone, or second of all, when somebody, some council in their wise wisdom, not, decide that they're going to make things such that the sound in the pelican crossings is actually turned off after a certain time, which is completely dangerous and actually inaccessible, because it then makes it such that you can't cross a road, especially a busy road like that, without waiting for some random person to turn up and hopefully help you across the road. What else does accessibility mean? So I don't know really. To me, accessibility also means places that don't have a lot of background noise. Now, at the minute, there is background noise because one or both of my budgies is persistently chattering. So, yeah, case in point, sorry guys. People can't hear me talking. Oi, quiet. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, so, yeah, places with a lot of background noise make it really hard to make out what people are saying, and what else is going on around you. Having said that though, if it's somewhere like a train station or a bus station, you can't really, I don't know, you can't necessarily help that in a way, but then again, some train stations and bus stations um, are better organised, and they don't have the funny little island platforms where you stand in the middle and you've got a train on one side and a train on the other side. So like one on either side of you. So I don't know if that's an accessibility thing or if that's just a I don't know, a thing that exists in general. Um, also, to me it means having things like braille signage and braille on buttons on elevators, lifts, whatever you want to call them. Because although it's only a small thing, sometimes you don't actually know what floor you're getting out on. Especially if you're in a place that's not so familiar. You can be getting out at completely the wrong floor. But also, the other thing that it means to me is being able to go to a restaurant or a cafe and order the stuff that I want to order and read the other options independently without having to get the staff members to read the menu for me. Now, for some reason in the UK, the accessibility laws are quite vague. So what the Equalities Act says is that a company, like business, organisation, whatever, have to make a reasonable adjustment. Now, I absolutely hate that term, reasonable adjustment, because first of all, reasonable is about the most subjective word on the planet. It really depends on what an individual considers reasonable at any given time, which is likely to change from one minute to the next. But also adjustment, well, that is not very often a thing that is even made necessarily. So somebody might say, oh, have someone read something for you, that's a reasonable adjustment because they're not turning you away. But I'm like, well, no, don't use the term a reasonable adjustment as a excuse in some cases to not make things fully accessible. Speaking of braille menus in restaurants, I've not actually seen any large print menus. I could be wrong, because I can't see them, but I've not seen any large print menus in restaurants or cafes or anything like that. Now, I do offer a service to put menus into braille, but I'm very, very surprised that I've had no customers on that one, because I thought I would have a ton of customers, like, there's a bunch of independent cafes and restaurants and things around here, and nope. But yeah, so yeah, that is a bit of a weird one. Um, oh yeah, accessibility to me also means that if I have something that comes in the mail from an organization like a hospital or a bank or something like that, that I should then be able to go ahead and read the thing in the format that I need to read it in this case Braille. Now, I normally get statements for my for some of my bank accounts in Braille, which is fine, fantastic. I would rather just not bother because they're only savings accounts, but I appreciate that they're doing that because, you know, I can then go ahead and read them if I so choose at any given time. But the National Health Service, for some reason, well, they're a different story. One department decides that, oh, we'll have to get in touch with someone else to put those letters into Braille for you, and but first they cite what do you call it? They cite confidentiality as a reason for not putting some things into Braille, which I don't really understand because well, because if the letter is something that's confidential, well, I still want to be able to read that. I need to be able to read it without having to either wait till I load up the scanner, a scanning reading machine or whatever, or without having to get some other human to read it for me. And other departments in the NHS just don't put letters into Braille at all. Don't even find out how. And has anyone noticed that there are no Braille signs around places like hospitals and doctor's surgeries and those kind of things? Which I would have thought would be the most obvious place to put accessible signage. Like Braille signs, raised print signs, whatever. Well, let's talk about some good accessibility features. So, speaking of travelling, at all the metro stations in the northeast of England now, they all, as far as I understand it, have tactile paving at the edge of the platforms, which is fantastic, because when I was there a few years ago they didn't have that, but they've in recent months laid the last strips of those blister paving at the platform edges. Yes. And also another good accessibility feature that I like is, this is not in the UK but in Finland. So on the trains in Finland, sadly there are no compartment numbers, so you don't know what train car you're in. But once you know what train car you're in, they actually have braille numbers on the aisle seats, so you know which seats you're at, which I think is the best thing ever. I love that. Oh yeah, as far as Finland goes, you also, if you go through certain shopping centres, not all of them, but if you go through certain ones, they have a tactile line on the floor that you can follow to get from the lift doors, from the lift doors to the exit or entrance, like outside doors, or vice versa. The interesting thing to notice about that is that there's a break in the line when you come to a seating area or to the stairs or what have you, and then the line carries on after that point. I kind of like that. And also in in Germany, in certain bus stations, I don't know if it's all of them, but in certain bus stations they do actually have tactile paving of sorts, where you're supposed to stand and wait for the bus, which I think is really helpful. I don't know if that's just a Berlin thing or if they do it in other cities too, I can't remember, because it's been wow, it's been 4 years since I was in Germany, and that was only a brief visit. I want to go back to Germany. Nice people, and it'd be good to see more of that country. Anyway, I digress. I shall close this video for now, but yeah, if you like this video, or if you want to talk about any what accessibility means to you, feel free to leave a comment or hit the like button, or if you like my channel in general, feel free to subscribe, and yeah, I shall see you in the next video.